Good morning, y'all. Welcome back to another video on Luderco Arms channel. This video is going to be basically how does your electric water heater work. This is basically for, you may not know how the water heater works and you might need to know, and also if you need to replace your water heater, this will help you out with the connections and all that kind of stuff. So the reason it being is I'm fixing to rebuild my water heaters, put new elements and thermostats in them, and so I figured might as well take you along and show you what all's going on with your water heater. So an electric water heater runs on 220 single phase power, and so we'll do this in kind of a couple of parts. I'll show you the connections for the water and plumbing, and then we'll do the electrical, and I will do a separate video of actually replacing all the parts in the water heaters, and might do another video on how to hook two water heaters together to double your water capacity if you're in a situation like I am where you can only fit a certain size in the water heater in the crawl space. So anyways, let's get started with the plumbing. So let me get set up with that and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is your water heater. Now, when you look at water heater, that's just the outside cover. The tank is on the inside, and in between the tank and the cover is insulation to keep it warm, obviously. So your cold water comes in through the top, and that pipe on the inside, it goes all the way down to the bottom and puts cold water in the bottom of the tank. And then your other pipe is your hot water coming out, and it is in the top of the tank and it comes out. So that's your water connections. Now you've also got a couple of other connections and things to be aware of. Down at the bottom you've got a drain, that's for maintenance, and over on the side of it somewhere you will have a pop-off valve, and basically this is a pressure relief valve. So if something goes wrong and say the thermostat doesn't turn off when the water reaches temperature and it keeps getting hotter and hotter, this will blow out to allow the pressure to relieve. Otherwise this could blow up like a bomb. So depending on where your water heater is mounted in your house, like my water heaters are in the crawl space under the house, so the only plumbing I really have are the cold water in and the hot water out. But if your water heater is mounted inside, like in a closet, or especially if it's inside and upstairs, you'll probably have plumbing coming off of this pop-off valve and off of this drain. Hopefully, if they built your stuff right, you'll have a pipe coming off of here going to a drain. Same with this. That way, if you should have a pop-off, or if the pop-off valve starts leaking, the water will go to the drain and not on the floor of your house, ruining your house. But that's the basic plumbing connections. So let me redraw this for the electrical. I'll be right back. Alright, one other thing I forgot while we're on the plumbing is you also have a plug in the top here, and that's going to be an anode. It's a sacrificial metal piece that will, instead of your tank rusting, the sacrificial metal piece will rust. They're usually made out of magnesium, and they do need to be replaced from time to time. And when we do the video rebuilding my water heater, you'll see I'm going to replace that. But it basically looks like, if I can get this thing open here real quick. So in the top of your tank, you'll see a plug that looks like that, and then this just goes down. Now this is a replacement one. The originals are usually one long. These are segmented so that if your water heater's mounted where you can't get something all the way above it, you can get this down in there. But these are just magnesium, and they'll basically corrode and sacrifice themselves, and that will keep your tank from rusting on the inside. And it's mounted usually like this in the top of the tank. So now I will get to the electrical. So let me get that drawn up and I'll be right back. Alright, so your electrical connections. Now on the outside of your tank, looking at it, what you're going to see is 220 volts is going to come in the top. There's going to be a junction box on the top of the tank. So you can have two hot wires and a ground, and those will hook in that junction box to the tank. And from the outside of the tank, that's all you're going to see. Now there's two covers on the side of the tank. There's a top cover and a bottom cover on the side of the tank. So if you pull those covers off, inside you'll see that in the top one there's a thermostat and an element, and in the bottom one there's a thermostat and an element. So your 220 volt, your two wires coming in for your 220 single phase come in the top, and they'll hook to this relay, and basically that relay sends power to here and here, and there's also built-in thermostats in them, so you can adjust the temperature of the water, how hot it gets. So the way that this works is, you'll remember on the other drawing, the cold water, let me draw it again. If you'll remember from the other drawing, you had your tank, and your cold water came in the pipe all the way down to the bottom of the tank, and then your hot water was just at the top of the tank going out. So the reason that is because heat rises. So your cold water goes in the bottom, your hot water comes out the top. And the way all this works is, let's pretend like right now this tank is full of cold water. So you got power coming in here, and you got a top and the bottom down here. Now your the cycle works like this. Okay, so the tank's full of cold water, so the power comes in here, and this thermostat is saying that it's cold and it needs to warm up to 120 degrees. So it's going to click the power on to this heating element, and it's going to sit there and heat until it senses that the water in the tank is at 120 degrees in the top part of the tank where this thermostat is. Once that water reaches 120 degrees, this relay is going to turn the power off to this element, and it's going to send the power down to the second thermostat. And this thermostat, now that it has power, it's going to heat this element up to 120 degrees or whatever temperature you have these set at. The standard's 120 degrees. So this will heat up, and once it gets to temperature, it's going to turn off power to this element. And basically, at that point, the tank will sit, neither element will be on, and because it's well insulated and water takes a while to dissipate heat, it's just going to sit there waiting for somebody to use the hot water. So what happens when you start using the hot water, as you take hot water out of the top, cold water replaces it in the bottom, and your level, your differentiation between your hot water and your cold water will rise in the tank. So as the cold water starts coming in here, this thermostat in the bottom will sense that the water is below 120 degrees, and it will turn the power back on to this heating element, and that heating element will start heating again. Now, because say you're taking a shower and you're steadily taking water, hot water, out of the top of the tank, this level is going to keep rising. So there's going to be more cold water and less hot water. As that level gets up to the area of the top thermostat, this thermostat will sense that the water is no longer 120 degrees and is cold. This relay will cut the power off to this relay down here, cutting power off to this element, and it will cut the power on to the top element. So only one element works at a time, and that's important to remember if you want to hook two of these together, which I'll show you in another video, but just so you know. So now the top element is on, and it will heat, and as your level goes up, eventually, because when you have the water on, you will use the hot water faster than the tank can heat up. So eventually you will run out of hot water, as we say. And because you're running out of hot water, you'll cut the shower off, and then once again this tank will be full of cold water, and the cycle will start again. This thermostat will warm this element until it reaches the prescribed 120 degrees, at which point this relay will kick, turn off the power to this element, send it back down to here, and this relay will turn this element on and heat the rest of the water in the tank, and then when it reaches its temperature, it will shut off, and the cycle starts all over again. Now all these parts on your water heater are replaceable. So unless your tank is actually rusted through and it's leaking, you can fix these tanks. You can go to Lowe's and buy a full kit right here. Now this, to show you, if you look, this larger thermostat is the top one up here on the drawing, and this smaller one is the bottom one on the drawing. The difference being that the smaller one at the bottom just turns on and off, and the larger one at the top turns the element on and off, but it also sends the power down to here, so it's bigger. It does more. And then your two elements are here, and you can see the connections on it. And in the next video, when I show you, I'm not sure if the next video is going to be how to hook two of the water heaters together, or how to replace all these parts, but you'll see what I'm talking about. But basically that is how the water heater works, how it warms up your water, how it does all that. And the elements, basically it's just like a stovetop element. You can see it's a round thing. It sticks in the side of the tank right there, and it's got rubber gaskets, and that's how the tank gets warm. So hopefully I haven't confused you and made it worse, but hopefully now you understand how your electric water heater works, and what the hookups are, what all the pipes are. And like I said, in another video, I'm going to rebuild the tanks that I have, so you'll see how all that goes in there. And I may do a video on how to hook two water heaters together if you're in a situation like I am, where you can only fit one size of water heater through the hole into the crawl space, so you can't put a bigger water heater in there. Anyways, hopefully this has helped y'all out, learned you a little something, and appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you in the next video.